Hey guys, at the beginning of my YouTube journey, people requested stories. So I did a video. I don't think we even saw a go board through the whole thing, just stories. Recently, I've had a number of people pop up their little heads saying, how about another story one? I was in the mood too. I thought it was a good idea. So here we are, our second story video. A few things immediately come to mind. First thing is how different things were before any of you were born in Go. There was no internet. Japan was totally dominating the world in Go. China didn't even have one world-class player. First one, Ni Wei-ping, whose name tag I have up on my special shelf. In Korea, they didn't have any one in Korea who knew how to play the game. That's an overstatement, but things were really different. There's no access to professional players, to professional. There was the Go World magazine. That was like, oh, our treasure trove. Every month there were professional games with comments. Oh man, we just lived for that. Huge. So the first Japanese player to spread Go to the rest of the world, Karuo Iwamoto. He was one of the player in the atom bomb game. Briefly, for those of you who don't know, we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. The Hanimbo was playing that day, and it was going to be played in Hiroshima. For some reason, they decided, well, let's play it in the nearby city, town, whatever. So in the middle of the Hanimbo, the glass breaks out of the building, everyone and the board gets toppled over, and people look out and see the big mushroom cloud. And once everyone goes, oh, that's interesting, then go back to the game, get the board right up, put the stones back, and continue. The atom bomb game, he was one of the players, and that board is still up. The physical board and the board position is under glass at the Nihon Kiin, I think, something like that. Anyway, he decided to spread Go. The first place he went was Brazil. In Brazil, there still is a large Asian community. He set up a little neon key in there. One of his, if I'm understanding this correctly, one of his longtime students, one of the on the ground level, was what's his name? He's a teacher nowadays. He's my age. Fernando Arguello. Ooh, something like that. I could look up his name if we wanted it. So he's still around. He learned from Kuruo. Anyway, he was the first pro to tour the U.S. and he was the first pro I ever met, and I was able to play him. Very exciting game. So, what about all that? Just how different things were. Back then, the idea of someone having a computer on their desktop was absurd, right? How come? First of all, it takes up a whole room or two. It's just computers were different. There's no one had a printer. No one, if you want to record a game, you have to go buy some graph paper and mark out at X, and 1 with a circle, that's a black 1. 2, no circle, that's a white 2. That's how we recorded games back then. And no one knew. We're just guessing. The idea of having, world-class knowledge, everyone has it now. No one had it back then. So that's one name that stands out for me. The first breakout from Japan is China. China finally had a professional 9-dan and a couple other 8-7 kind of thing. So we started the Japan-China games. The format is our top 5 guys and your top 5 guys, we meet. Our lowest guy, our weakest guy fights your weakest guy. If our guy wins, he plays your next strongest guy. If our guy still wins, he plays your next strongest guy. So the weakest guy on the team could theoretically wipe out the entire other team. The Japan-China games. Well, one name that's important to me is Jujo Jang. He, in the games, wiped out the entire Japanese team all by himself. Now, I might have something about this story wrong, but it's very close to that. And he became very famous. He got the status as hero for doing this amazing thing against Japan. Of all the players I've ever heard of, he's certainly in the top 10 when it comes to depth of knowledge and understanding of the character of Go. Profound understanding. He married Ru Naiwei, the first ever professional 9-dan woman, who, if you recall, well, I'll tell a little bit of the story. I'll try to not cry when I tell it. It's so meaningful. And I'm a crier, let me tell you. Just ask my wife. You remember the incident in Tiananmen Square, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, where the tanks came across the civilians and a few people stood against the government, communist government. Scary thing to do. If it's communism, that's a scary thing. Well, Jujo and his wife were 2 of these people. Caused them a world of grief. They weren't allowed to leave the country. They weren't allowed, she wasn't allowed to play in any tournaments. And for her, she loves the game of Go more than anyone you have ever met in your life, will ever meet in your life. She has a profound affection, love for the game. So for her to not be able to play against strong players, her life was over. Horrible, horrible. I talked with Juju about it. He says it's horrible. Jackie Chan, very fun professional 4-dan, who was known as the 9-dan killer, because he was also a professional gambler. So he could care less that, I'm here to gamble. He would do things that are a little edgy against the 9-dans and win. He went behind the scenes to Korea and said, how about you let Runai come on over and play in the world-class games. Now, we're talking about Cho Hun-hyun and his protege, the other guy, and they've both been world number 1 for a decade. Now, this is years ago. So, and Cho Hun-hyun, he was got a nickname, the God of Fighting. Well, because of Jimmy Cha, she was allowed to play in the highest tournament on the planet. And she beat all these amazing names. These guys are profoundly good. Beating all of them. Second to the last one she won was the protege. I should know his name, his famous name. Best known for his endgame. She beat him all the way to the final. Now she plays the God of Fighting, Cho Hun-hyun. She loses the first game. She comes back, wins the next 3, wins the tournament. She outfought him all the way. And she said, it's like I'm in a dream. It just To be able to play at that level meant the world to her. So it was a very touching story. Thank you, Jimmy, for letting that amazing game happen. So Jujo, big name for me personally. I started with him for not a long time. And she's there at the house bringing me tea. Now, the funny part is when she's not playing Go, she's this sweet, petite little thing, big smile. But when she sits down to play Go, this transformation happens that's, dare I use the word, terrifying. She becomes a thing of iron. It's just phenomenal to see. I'm there one day and I ask Jujo a question. I said, well, what about, I don't understand, what about this? He looks, he says, I don't know anything about this, which is hilarious. He knows everything about it, but he didn't feel that he had professional 9-dan information. So he says, Rue, come here. Do you know about this? She looks, she says, yes. And she explained it to him. I got the biggest kick out of that. Yeah, the Japan-China games, big deal. And eventually China outdid Japan by, just coming up with some vague numbers here, let's call it half a stone. They got better than the Japanese. They did this by saying, you know, you guys swear by shape. Shape's important, but we're going to care less about shape, more about reading and practical value. Less about the aesthetic Go, more about practical Go. So they got better than Japan. Enter Korea. Korea comes along and says, I don't care about shape at all. Zero. I care about reading. Korea completely dominated Go across the world. No questions. And bit by bit, China and Japan started coming up going, okay, we better start being more practical and reading more. So Korea really, really took over. I know we talked about this a little bit on the last one, but back those years ago, there was something called professional one-dan. Doesn't exist anymore. Now, you guys know this bottleneck that happened. It really started in Korea, where you're only allowed 3 professionals a year. I'm making a couple of these numbers up. It may have been 3 in this school and 3 in that school, but still, just a few are allowed to come through. So over, in Japan, over 100 years, that stayed, yeah, everything's fine. Korea, they all started getting so good, there's actually, let's just say, 5 that are of professional quality, but only 3 get in. Okay, there's 2 of professional quality that didn't get in. Next year, now there's 10 professional qualified, but only 3 get in. Well, that means we've got 8, 9, 10, 11 that didn't get in. Fast forward a few years, there are the amateurs. There's all these amateurs that are professional 9-dan level. It was known that the amateurs were stronger than the professionals due to this bottleneck effect. So now, Japan, China, Korea, when you say you're professional one-dan, you're not one-dan. As far as ranking, that you haven't had enough time to, go up the ladder yet. Making sense? So now you'll see a lot of Korean 7-dans. Oh, professional level. That's amateur 7-dan, professional level. Dr. Baduk on YouTube. He plays professionals every day of the week. And then, here's a world champ, I'll play him. Here's another world champ, I'll play that guy. He wins all the time. How strong is he? Amateur 7-dan. But his actual playing level is professional 9-dan, but he just hasn't gone through. So hopefully this bottleneck effect makes some sense. Okay. Next. I felt that I mentioned my friend, we were 5Q together, 1Q together, 1-dan together. That was real special. We were both 1-dan, 5-dan together. We went up in ranks together. He was always about a half a stone stronger than me, 3/4 of a stone. So we were the guys that were involved. If someone's starting a club, it's probably us. If someone needs this or that, there's traveling Go dignitary. For instance, Rob Van Zeiss, most of you know him. Always come to town. Well, we meet them at the airport. He and I pick them up, take them to dinner, this sort of thing. So we were the ones that were involved all the time with all these strong players, having lots of very rich memories from it all. There's so many stories, my goodness. I have a friend, his claim to fame is he has the best Go board in the Bay Area. Now, we're going back 20 years at least, so things have changed. But so when a professional level tournament was happening, they would call him, can we borrow your board? And he would always say, well, on the condition that when a pro plays on it, they sign it on the back. So he's collecting all these signatures, right? And then one professional, I will not say his name, he's known as a drinker, drinking too much. So this drinking professional, and my friend and another guy, it's later at night, they're sitting around the Go board, and there's the pro having a couple extra drinks, getting a little tipsy, and treating the Go board disrespectfully. Oh, my friend did not appreciate that one bit. But I'll sign it for you. Like, oh, not next time, you won't. Okay, that was just a short little memory. What else? When I was 4Q, it's when I first developed some level of strength. Oh, and back then, there were no 15Qs. They didn't exist. You wouldn't even consider naming your rank until you were at least 10Q. And at that point, you don't really say I'm 10Q, you say I'm a beginner. It's the same thing, 10Q, beginner. There are no 15Qs. Nowadays, there's 30Qs, 25Qs. What? Makes no sense to me. It's, so close to zero, it doesn't matter what you name yourself. So, started 10Q. When I was 5Q, I was nothing. Didn't understand anything. 4Q, I started to understand things, started to play halfway decent Go. That's when I first met a 6-dan. When I started, the highest amateur level, 5-dan. They didn't allow any 6-dans. No amateur could play that high. Finally, you get enough amateurs playing at the 6-dan level, the pros go, okay. Granted, you are obviously at that level. We will create an amateur 6-dan level. Well, the first two were a couple of brothers. And I met the second brother and did what for me was totally unusual. I said, if you don't mind, I'd love a game. I'm someone who's going to stand in the background, let other people, whatever. I'm not going to make waves and make demands. But in this case, if you don't mind, I would love. Sucker beat me by 3 points. Everyone was impressed. People all over the board. Oh my God, I can't believe for a 6-dan. Pretty special back then. And now, eventually, the pros go, okay, 7 done. And now amateur 8 done, all over the place. When I got to 6 done, still pretty rare. You were saying something at that point. Now, it's nothing. Everyone's 6 done, as far as I can tell. Probably you are. Okay. What else? In the old days, we know this Joseki, right? AI Joseki. Back then, too small for black. Well, let's finish it. Black's too small. Wasn't considered Joseki. AI comes along. No, better for black. Next, this white move on the board. Let's do another one. The 2 black stones. So the 2 white A stones, the 2 black B stones. Of course, without a doubt, we're going to extend. We're going to extend, of course. Duh. You need health. And heck, it's points too. Well, nowadays, the B group, 0 need for another black stone there. Very strong. How about the A stones? Well, it's not bad. If you get pinched, you can just always walk out if you want. You can go under. You even have a cute Tasuji, where it's very hard for black to even consider getting around you. So if you want to play away, it's fine. Of course, if you want to stay, it's not slow, because it's, good, solid points, all like that. So very different. Another AI Joseki. Oh, black just plays away. What? This was insane. Of course you have to make an extension here. No, not at all. Well, how come? Well, you can run to the side, you can run to the center, you can run to the center, you can bother the 4 stones. Black group's very healthy. So AI came along and said, let's move more quickly. This black group is fine. Go get some points somewhere. Don't spend a move defending. Yeah, you get points, but it's slow. You don't need to play here. Go someplace where you really like it. Now, on some board, you do like this. That's great. On some board, you do want this because of something. Great. But just basic second, just this. Another one. I'm on the wrong button. Just a second. Stop it. We would never dream of shoulder hit on the 5th line, giving white all those points. AI came along, and we do this against top pros. No problem. Win every time. Literally, without exception. It was like unbelievable. Things that we believed absolute about Go, not at all absolute. And then there's the famous, this is the old Joseki, right? We all know this one. White would not do this till later in the game, when he felt that black's thickness wouldn't be used very well. AI comes along and says, oh, pop right in. Just walk away. Excuse me? Just walk away. What do you mean walk away? Well, you're alive, aren't you? Yeah. Heck, you can pinch and black's just a stick. We're like, holy cow. Never would have even thought about it. Now we know this is this exchange, white-black, better for black. Everyone knows this. I mean, black's winning the game, hands down, right? It's just tremendous value for black. So AI says, oh, go another one. Let's check it out. White plays away. Black, white, black. Do we live in Gote? No. Just go here again. Give black another one. But now you lived in Sente. Not only that, but his turn isn't even Sente. Wow. These were wild ideas. Also, one of the most used Josekis. I don't know what to tell you. You try working on all these Josekis, variations up the wazoo, horribly complicated Josekis. And if you want to play a 4-down on up game, you need to know all of them, all the variations. Horribly hard work. AI comes along and says, no, just take, is there something wrong with cash? It's easy. You have cash, you have Sente. Is there a problem? So all the hard Josekis, gone. It's only a very few complicated ones on the books now. And I don't know them. I don't want to know them. I'm done. I'm sorry. So Go's changed a lot. The politics of Go. Oh, Japan can't play with China. They don't talk. Right? They don't even communicate. Well, in Go, they started to a little bit, you know. So the world scene is different. The Go scene is different. The Go level. Then along comes AI and everything changes. Right now, I'm going through a series where professional plays AI at 2 stones, game after game after game after game after game. Out of a dozen games, the pro won one. Oh, I couldn't believe it. He actually won one. Everything else, lost, resign, 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 resign. Oh, 3-point game, close. Resign, resign, resign. I mean, AI is so strong. Yeah, big deal. And that alone, having AI come to life, as it were, huge deal. Anything else come to mind? One thing we kind of miss nowadays, back in the day when Go was just in Japan, it was part of their culture. It wasn't just a game, it was cultural. And part of that was the poetry. Some wonderful Go poetry. All about the Go widow. She serves another cup of tea, as they say, just one more game. This wonderful, descriptive, short little poems. I still love reading those. Those are great. Anything else? That's all I can think of. Hope it was fun and interesting to people. We'll catch you later. Bye.